This is Welcome to my YouTube channel.
A picture of Barack Obama recently surfaced that might have sunk his chances of being president had we seen it sooner. And I think there's a lesson in that. It's a 2005 photograph taken at a Congressional Black Caucus meeting of a young Senator Obama before he decided to run for president. He's smiling with Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. The photographer, Askia Mohammed, says he did not make the picture public at the time because he believed it would have made a difference to Obama's political future. Even after Obama was nominated, elected, re-elected, the photo was kept under wraps. Mohammed finally decided to release it as part of a self-published book. It's important to remember, when Obama ran in 2008, opponents tried to paint him as a socialist, as a left-wing radical. And to be sure, he'd associated with some of the latter. During the campaign, intense focus was brought to Obama's friendship with Bill Ayers, a co-founder of the Weather Underground, a revolutionary group founded in 1969 that bombed numerous public buildings. And Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who Obama had known since the 80s, the two became close enough that Wright ended up officiating the Obama's wedding, and the Reverend inspired Obama so much that the Audacity of Hope was based on one of Wright's sermons. But Wright also said some notoriously anti-American things in the wake of the September 11 attacks, and in March of 2008, ABC ran an article detailing all of Wright's controversial sermons. Obama repeatedly had to distance himself, and finally, with his nomination perhaps on the line, he gave a major address on race at the National Constitution Center. I was in the room that day when Obama declared that Wright's comments were only divisive.
Then came Barack Obama. We supported him when he was a community organizer. I had never met him. But my chief of staff at that time, Brother Leonard, knew Barack Obama, and we backed him with money and with the help of the FOI to get him elected. Barack Obama became a U.S. Senator. This part of the story I will leave for another time, but he visited me. That's all I will say. And he threw his hat in the ring to be president of the United States. And Farrakhan, at our Savior's Day convention in 2008, spoke kind words about my brother. But Hillary had already said she wanted to be president. So she and Barack were locked in a battle. She was battling the Clintons. So when there was a kind of a debate with NBC's star reporter Tim Russert, my name came up. And all of you that want national and state prominence, sometimes I am the litmus test to see if white folk can do anything good for you. And some of you are so weak and so cowardly that your desires mean more than the integrity of your being.
This is Information Man, and I want to stop because this has been going through my mind. I've been thinking about it today as I was going through social media, of course, YouTube. There was a picture, as you all know, that surfaced with President Obama with one Farrakhan. And I want to say right now, as I go on with this video presentation, that I am a supporter of Louis Farrakhan in the Nation of Islam. I think, one, what they do is positive, Anytime you have a black man, you have a black organization that's about the betterment of black people, the empowerment, the economic independence, it's a no-brainer for me. You've got to support that. And so, you know, when you look at white America, they see Farrakhan as an extremist. They see him as very dangerous and destructive. But the fact of the matter is, the Nation of Islam, along with Farrakhan, they have no record of terrorist acts, blowing up buildings, attacking people, hanging people, doing brutality towards people in society. But you do have groups like the Ku Klux Klan. You have the skinhead Nazi groups. You had that group in Charlottesville, North Carolina, talking about blood and soil, you won't replace me, who actually killed someone, okay? Farrakhan has never been involved in any kind of killing. He is a man who stands by principle. He says, hey, I'm not a non-violent man. If you put your hands on me, I'll do my best to make sure you don't put your hands on anyone else. And that's a quote from Malcolm X, actually. And so with that being said, President Obama, there's a photo. He's with Farrakhan. Hell, the man spent 8 years in the White House. He did not radicalize the presidency. Most people thought that he was not, in terms of the white population in this country. People who believed in the birther movement did not believe that President Obama was born here in America. They thought that he would radicalize America with Islam. Okay, he took a lot of criticism because he wouldn't use the term radical Islam, which makes no sense. Okay. He was characterized as a monkey along with his family. They were very disrespected. And the whole time that that brother was in office, he carried himself with dignity and with respect. Now, his negatives are, yes, he engaged in a lot of drone bombings. Yes, the negatives are he engaged in doing things that I feel were not good for the continent of Africa. But you got to realize, when you're in that seat of the United States, no matter what your race is, you must maintain the empire. Now, there's a book by John Perkinson that talks about the economic hitman, that America is an empire mainly built by manipulating countries around the world economically without little warfare. And so President Obama, when he got in there, we could not expect. Now, a lot of us thought that he would part the Red Seas for us as black people. We would get reparations and all of that. You got to keep in mind, there has never been a radical president, in terms of aggressive radical president, in the White House. What you have in the White House right now is a radical president, but he gears to the side of white supremacy. Okay, he said that the people in Charlottesville were very fine people, and that's exactly what he said. Okay, he projected the racism. He projected what his real goals and objectives are. He's done everything to divide this country along racial lines. And you had people simply who did not like President Obama. And I'm sure there are people, had they known that he took a photo with Louis Farrakhan and was smiling, enjoying himself with Louis Farrakhan, there are those liberal white people who think that they're not racist that would have not voted for President Obama. That would have been a done deal for them. We know the situation with Jeremiah Wright. He had to denounce Jeremiah Wright because Jeremiah Wright spoke very radically in the opinions of white America, very negatively about America. And the fact of the matter is, America has more blood on its hand than it has angels around it, okay? We say, God bless America, it's on our money. But the fact of the matter is that America does not project that image in the way it treats its citizens, especially citizens that are African American people. Okay, the Democrats are spending a lot of time focusing on the dreamers, but yet the very group that was brought here as slaves, we as black people, we're marginalized, we're undervalued, and right now, I would say that President Obama, I have no problem with him being with Louis Farrakhan. Okay, this is just the bottom line. America was built on race. It's always been built on race, divided by race. And no matter what a black man does, who he wants to associate himself with, he's always going to catch hell. He's going to always catch criticism.